I still have Beastie, and I'm actually quite happy about it, because I went to the shop in Yeovil, anal, shot on the hole, holeshot, that's what it's called, holeshot. Kawasaki dealer. Now the expression is, I wouldn't piss on them if they were on fire, comes to mind. They got me in the shop through deception, because I told them exactly what Beastie is like. I told them about the cosmetic problems with her. I told her, it was told her that she's got a plug back tyre. I also told them, well, there's over 1,000 videos of me riding her, doing work on her. Told them all about how she looks, the appearance. They basically bullshit their way to get me into the shop, because they've still got this mentality from the 1960s whereby they're the only shop on the fucking planet. So when I got in there, they made all these bullshit excuses, and they tried blowing the engine up by revving her at full blast for 2 minutes, redlining it. Didn't work. She still fucking runs sweet. Made some bullshit excuses about this, that and the other, like the exhaust has been bandaged, but yeah, I told them that. And then they tried, oh, but we can't part exchange it because the hazard light doesn't work. Which was complete bullshit, because I just used it 15 minutes before, because it's been pissing down all day, and I pulled over to put on my waterproofs. I even walked outside, because I was saying, what the fuck have you done to my bike to make the hazard lights not work? Went out, hazard lights worked perfectly. So they basically lied to get me in the shop with no intention of part-exing my bike, which is actually a good thing, because there's 3 bikes I was looking at. 2 Triumphs. One is £1,000 over market value, and it's got a shitload of fucking issues with it. The other one, the 1050, they also have issues such as when you hit a certain mph mileage, they have issues with the ignition coil, and they're not cheap to fix. The other bike I looked at was a Z650 Kawasaki, 2 years old, 5 grand. And I'd actually done a bit of research, which I do because I'm a nerd. And that exact bike there's a video of it on YouTube where this guy was test riding it, and he actually said, and this is over 2 years ago, I think it was January or February 2020, and he's riding it and he said 500 people have already been thrashing the shit out of the engine. And from there, it was sold to somebody else, and then it was sold to a training school. Now, the fact they lied to get me in the shop is more than enough reason for me never to go back there again. But the biggest reason I would never go back, and this is, I'm not sure if it's still law, but it used to be a legal thing that if you've got a crashed bike, you have to tell the person you're selling it to it's been crashed. He wouldn't do it. He refused to actually comment on it or say anything about it. Now, the research that I did shows me that it was not just a demo bike and a test bike, but also a training bike. It didn't take me more than 1 minute to see the bike had been crashed at speed on both sides repeatedly. It's not just obvious stuff like the fairings being cracked and smashed, or gouge marks in other places, or the fact that the ignition barrel looked very suspect because it's actually recessed when it shouldn't be. It was things like the handlebar, the bar ends, had been scraped and scuffed from multiple crashes. You can tell because you can tell the age of the gouge marks. And there was at least 3 different crashes on both sides. To the point where the handlebars had been bent. So we're not just talking somebody's dropped the bike, we're talking somebody's crashed you at speed enough to take gouge marks out of the handlebars and to bend the handlebars. They haven't replaced them, they've just bent them straight, which means you've now got a fault line, which is a risk because if you're riding it along, they could snap. And he wasn't going to tell me any of this. So as far as I'm concerned, holeshot, and anal bikes is a good name for them, shot on the hole, are dangerous. They're selling second-hand bikes that are dangerous. Both brake lever and front foot lever. I didn't even sit on the bike to test ride it. I didn't fucking want to. Actually, he wouldn't let me because I did ask a few times. And but I sat on it and I could tell by sitting on it, it's been crashed a lot. The handlebars are out of alignment. The front forks, which are spongy from new, actually felt off centre, so one was more working than the other, and I could feel that the foot pegs had been bent. And he wasn't going to tell me any of this. Now, I don't know how the law works now, but I do know the law used to be, if you know a bike's being crashed, you have to tell the new owner. He refused to tell me anything. So, holeshot, yeovil, avoid like the fucking plague.